Alright, now on the Chopa, the other casino to there's a down the Chosin sat up there, and Italia, Devastation to Javadan, Deputy Chosin Namki, Chosin together, Rangel Lama Yeme in the some day and Kunwa, Simja Tamji to Sandioko want to be to Yin Sempe, and Kunwa Janshi Simja Samda, then it's watching a Lama Tigilia, and the Kuson to Yin. Some Dacia Deva, Jada, Ralia, Kitchen Chivoy, but getting Chisu Change, or Dushin, some diet that, then saw Chopia Dikine, some Jatam Chicken, and San Yokovan, go new to be Chedu, and Jigge, and the Chopu, and Bezemba, Dushin, and Chopuadi, or this deliver what is the names and then my.
Good evening. Tonight we're continuing to have a look at the practice of the Lama Chöpa, and in the preceding 33 verses that we've already looked at, we saw that one starts out the practice with a generation of the motivation of bodhicitta, the determination to become a Buddha for the sake of others, and generating also the wisdom realizing emptiness. One then reflects on the tremendous qualities of one's Lama and his great kindness and benefit that he brings into our life. And with these minds present, one generates or visualizes the merit field before one, seeing all the beings of the lineage as being indivisible in nature with our Lama. And then with such a motivation of becoming a Buddha, as quickly as possible for the sake of all beings, with an understanding of emptiness too, we then make offerings to our Lama, having recalled his qualities and kindness.
Andine Zadanga Zugi Delia Lunga Yusum Yugone Gawa and Duchile Sagurwa, Kayi Yugone Garsanga Zugine that the Gavulia and the chick, Socheticile, Debatsich to Chen and Delia and chick Dusine, getting Chisutembe and Indian, Dini Deba Chevanza, Yugone Gawa the Sagore. And the Lu Yugone and Jiggy, Zuge, Luikon and Jiggy, got. Geshe Thubten and Shoe do you but that the Lugone and Gavasagore. Now you're going to seek the Lama Chöpa City Ma, then City Part, Dushin, Bendigo, and I give a Lunga, Yisumye, Gava, Duchilia, Yamdo, and this thing to get Chopa Puja do, Lunga Yisumye, Gava Duchi the Sagorwa.
In this practice, we accumulate merit through all three doors. We accumulate physical virtue through the physical display of respect, for example, joining the palms together. We accumulate merit verbally through the recitation of these verses, and of greatest importance is the accumulation of merit through our way of thinking, mentally. And this comes to the generation of bodhicitta, wisdom realizing emptiness, as well as the mind of refuge, and reflecting the tremendous qualities and kindness of our Lama, and thereby generating a firm trust in him. So in these ways, through the three doors, we accumulate virtue in this practice.
And Gewa Saya said, Gewa Latine, Tiki Yunguri, Yahunguri said, Zugi kissing Lamrim Nala, Shavan, Son de Kabla, Zugi Energy, Gewa Chima, Lada Mi, Lidin Yahutoyadi, and Jigge, Surim Sungores, Surim Yitibores, Surim Soya. Surim Soya, Digi, Lada Mi, Lidin, one do go out to Gudi, Surim the res. And Zugi Umbo Sawadan, and Jig. Because nobody temple and the Swibbinium and Chagores, Swibbinium Chagores, and Anzle Jigge Jimbi Longi, Jimbigi, Jebutilla, and the Jigge Sosolia, Uge, Gargoyadi, and Tungi Yabutuyadi, and Jimbi Jebures. And Anzugi that the Chulia, Chula Devacha, and Chuchi, Dumboyoba, Anzuli Chula, Camus, Niamang, the Zunduki, Zunjiki Tibu Chagore. On the Negi, that's some Zishi Dingis in Shuna, and the Dingis in Duyata, and Dame Batope Shera Combina, and Dame Batoyadige, and Dushin Chagore. Then on the Gangeli, Gudila and Jimba Chujun Zuba Junja someday shut up Sadi and Drukti Higurwati, Drukti letter within it in Yungure Saja. Then Gawanga Manganjuge, Dingin Combaina, and Sedelina, Give Chavala, JB Kablia, Sim, Seju, near Tuya, Shanlea, Martuvi Cabra, and Gawala, Sim de Seju near Tuya Cabra. And Gawanga among the Damia Topic, Damig call of John Chene Comba Yubaina, and the Sedelina, Tombanilia, Tombanida Damia Ballet, Dunya, Dumba Yobada, Delia, Samatana, just Hakoya La, and this way, and Chisa, Jimba Susan Super Junior someday, Sherepki, and then Yamlin Chipiki Tibu, Dinner Sajiga.
The reason that the accumulation of virtue, such as has just been mentioned, done through the 3 doors, is so important, is that virtue or merit is what leads to happiness. Wanting to experience lasting happiness, a happiness that's freed from all problems and difficulties, comes about in dependence on the accumulation of a vast store of merit and from a variety of causes. So, for example, the cause, which is the mind of ethical restraint, the mind that subdues or restrains the mind from coming under the influence of the afflictions, that a practice of ethics is the primary cause that leads to the happiness of a good rebirth as a human or God. And the practice of generosity, this is the cause that ensures that in future lives that we have an abundance of favorable circumstances, both material and non-material, so as that we can continue our spiritual development. And the practice of patience, the mind that stays subdued in the face of adversity, the mind that doesn't become overwhelmed by the afflictions in the face of adversity, that practice of patience is the cause that ensures in our future lives our sense powers are sound, and that we easily form harmonious relationships with others, harmonious and beneficial relationships with others. And the 4th cause to cultivate is that of joyous perseverance, the mind that delights in engaging in virtue. And this is the cause that ensures in our future lives we seek out a spiritual path and wholeheartedly want to engage in that path, not becoming overwhelmed by obstacles. And then the accumulation of the causes that come from developing a more concentrated mind, as well as cultivating our wisdom, in particular the wisdom realizing emptiness or selflessness. It's through cultivating these causes that when we engage in the Dharma in our future lives, in dependence on these causes accumulated in previous lives, we will be able to more readily understand the subtler points of the Dharma and be able to quickly spiritually develop. So therefore, to ensure that life after life our spiritual progression continues at an ever increasing rate, comes about in dependence on the cultivation of the appropriate causes. So in brief, the more merit we accumulate, the more we reflect or meditate on the various topics of the Dharma, we can ensure that our spiritual development will progress rapidly, not just in this, but also in future lives too.
Gewa sagora lunga yusumye gewa sagora saji manzu higorwa ine da ngazu gewa sagora se de ngazu gewa di ngazu 통고 말와 da sagyo 통고 말와 세상 매반자 마통한자 da sagyo 라고 때 sag이 얘나 맨나스 배 도고 용식이로 되네 세상 되네 인자다 ngazu 저기 gewa데 가르스네 아주 gewi기 대부디 디기 용구리 사지 디기 때 ngazu 게 대시 셰바 차상 gewi 대부 차이로와 세상은 가라하고 그랬네. 배네 사월마 추여바이네 추기 자주 고바이나 가서 자될 때네 딘마 추여살에 셈비 추자고야 여러와 추저 촉촉촉촉 자주 고기는 어디 추두 미마토나 될 추여살에 가서 추자고도 세비 자될 때네 아니 추여바데 보투고 여러와 안디나신 가서 신나기와 바 직접에는 아니 지게 셈전 다르 통면 랑치를 통면에 신나기를 봐 랑보시기 강비 제다 강제다 한 조보 다샤기 예배나 어달에 디와 심제 랑보치에서 가 조보 다샤 강제도세 니게 되네 될에 되네 랑보치 예배디 보투고로와 어디나 신당은 주기데 개화세야디 산에 개화사기리에서야디 가르하고 그래서는 당아 주기데 시가서는 추림소나 하다 미고와 토그리라와 세상 아주 대대 하다 미고와 톱되어와 미고 말해되어와 미고와 톱되어자 먼저 개왕 아마들라 디 미고와 토야기 유추림 송화디 대다디 하고도 그래 규제부텔라 되네 규모도 송화디 하고도 그러와 제사당 하나 줄려 튕기엔다 되네게 지게 최유 튕겨되네 약타주 여바디 니기 디규 제부디다 규를 때는 중 규디 개왕 아마 진비 냠네 제바디 세부하고도 그래 제사당 하나 주기 수보단 차상직 지지다 된바다 아니 지금 지금 공부 상화 지여바디 될 때는 개왕아마 쇠바 공부디 보투 거래 그래서 디나시 땅아서 다들 계획 자와 제할래 개와라 가신 조신 제도기 듬버 여바디 개왕아마 수름소 가서 전주전비기 대부 최고로 얘네에서 내내 두시는 제보 될 때는 개왕아마 가서 제바디 하고 지사 다들 가서 제보디 여완장 개왕아마 디규대시 셰바디게 가서 제바 타주고 지사 얘네에서 다 지나다 되는 자당 아주 다들 계획 자와 되는 게 제바 있나 다 지금 아주 라마 쳬바도 신의 소신사 답될 초부야다 대바체 되면 이 개와디 개와사고디 제보디 마음바다 용구여바다 세부 차고라다
Because virtue or merit is something that we can't manifestly see, it's easy to have doubt that the virtue created through the three doors from having from an act of faith towards the three jewels and making offerings to the three jewels, it's easy to have doubt that virtue is accumulated and that the results that are said to be experienced are even being accumulated, let alone will ever be experienced. But there are many things in life that we can't necessarily directly perceive, but we can infer. So too with the statement that happiness is the result from the accumulation of the cause of virtue. So for example, if one hears the sound of running water, without seeing it, one can infer that water is nearby. Likewise, if one is in an area where it is known that there are elephants and one sees fresh footprints or piles of dung, one knows an elephant is nearby. So again, with both of these illustrations, one hasn't seen the flowing water or the elephants, but in dependence on a sign or a reason, one can infer that the elephant or flowing water is nearby. So we sitting here are all have attained a human rebirth in this life. And this is the result of having practiced ethical restraint in previous lives. That was the cause that resulted at the time of death of our immediately preceding life that propelled this rebirth. And our financial situation, our abundance or lack of resources, this too is an indication, a sign of the ripening effect of generosity, or whether an abundance or lack of generosity in past lives. So too, the quality of our sense powers and the ease with which we form harmonious relationships with others, this too is an indication of whether we have accumulated powerful causes from the practice of patience in past lives. And likewise, our ease with engaging in and joy that we experience when engaging in the Dharma, this is a sign of whether we've accumulated causes, or strong causes, or only weak causes of joyous perseverance in our past lives. So too, in terms of concentration and wisdom, how concentrated and undistracted our mind is, how easily or not we can understand the more complicated philosophical topics, These too are indicators of the causes that we have accumulated in past lives.
Dene zadanga zuki dene ki kebyu di lia choshen nam lia deba zeshi tu che danga zu lunga yisum yukone chasada dene ki ja pui chou pui ki dene tsik duen tsik ma duen dene ma samlo tangdus puya ki de che yondu ane che sunam batum beba sayare saygoro di debu di danga zuki maungpa na yongayarwa danga duendo rupshine lo dele tabyo di lo tawa hashi jel mado debu yongayamarwa dina hashi danga zu 저 소속의 개화들 같이 숙체 나야지 개위 디기 제부 쳇될 양아도 개화 주면 로 하시 제일야 그 규산에 로 하시 제일 제부 주바 용거래 쳇될 제부 주바 주투바 용거래 한 쳇될 제부 말으면 개화 지말이야 제부 민바도 용거와 지사디 아주 도시되게 개화 사연데 제부 마음반에 중에 이마 책거와 유사이다.
It is independent on the accumulation of the particular variety of causes that beings have their own unique dispositions and inclinations. So reflecting on this, we can gather some more certainty in this topic that isn't manifestly visible, and independence on the certainty that arises. We can engage in making, for example, prostrations or offerings with our 3 doors, and thereby have some confidence that the virtue we accumulate, whilst we cannot see it or are unlikely to experience it in this life, we will in future lives. Because the vast majority of causes that are accumulated, whether virtuous or non-virtuous causes, are experiences in lives yet to come. There are certain types that are experienced in this life, but the majority come in lives yet to come.
나디 굴금단데 사비 중에제 로예 벌진 제주 동화다 자경하다 좀 알아서 장도벌이 뒤지게서 취해서 나디마 저기 신이마 낭취진 일랍샤바디게 내 낭취디게 아프야게 뒤시오래 안다니 그 생각은 내가 신이마 가지고 낭취진 일랍샤샤샤 로아디스니마 어디 아프야지.
Last week we looked at the verse of offering one's practice. So then we continue in terms of the verses of offering. Mm-hmm. And so now we come to the 34th verse, which is on page 6. I offer a libation of China tea, saffron bright, delicately perfumed, rich with 100 flavors. The 5 hooks, 5 lamps, and so forth are purified, transformed, and increased into an ocean of nectar.
Adelia, na gurgum dande sambi jinge je sedida di digi keshuru chugurwada gurgum dande sambi jinge je roye perzen geshe tungwa da sede aje geshe tungwa sedida ka jin jana ya tönshi bikida ja rikchi dine ko tungya de siguro tungwa de digi doru karyorosene 도 세고 굴금다 돼서로 도 세고요 해지래 네 상배딩에 좀 빼지기 디마야 보여 봐 안지 상보시 되다 동바 있는 류를 팬바다 네 도시네 안르이 빠진서 로 데롤야다 지그 베네 로드 네마 가서래 딱 로자마라 나소유비게 다 리글마선에 리 파잖아지 로자여 봐 디게 로자되게 배진바시 뉴바시우여 되게 뉴바 배진세 뉴바시우여 되게 데니게 동화디서 와기 개체 동화 데니야 데니 디푸유에서로다 데네 삼다제 고금다다 사비팅에 져서 도디에는 고금이 다 여든 네 상보 안 배지 류를 팬바 야보 아니 디마야고 유되게 아니 로 자이 남바 유되게 데네 뉴바데 템버스 류를 팬바 네 데네 유되게 어두스네 개체디 데네 시유 야푸유에서 오래.
First 2 lines, I offer a libation of China tea, saffron bright, delicately perfumed, rich with 100 flavors. So here, the tea, the offering of tea that is being described in the many poetic and beautiful ways. The meaning, though, of this is that what is being offered is something of great power or potency and has a great beneficial purpose.
다디네 예시 동화다 세대다 아 저게 다 동화 예시 책이 말다 가르치 비는 아주 지게 갈래베 지게 되네게 코어로다 잘 지게 지기게 자 가리네 분야리고로다 되네 예시 동화다 세들 디 송비갑라 디마 벌이야 디 초아디 벌 좀 봐라 저는 디가서 다 벌이야 자세디 약쇼디 야나리아 텐시비 자신부야 보시 유로다 되네게 팸을 되네 야고 되네산디 되네게 자친부 야고 인자 디 자나네다 예 디 내갑스 룸베텔이야 보에 코론리아 베제 땅에기 지소나리아 안디 자디 빼야고래서 계라신부를 지나 야고 휴지 지긴 유로하다 계라신부 야고 지고래 되네 인자 디나네 약쇼디다 두시네 안 부고 동안이 부고래서지 지고래.
Whilst the verse specifically says China tea or tea from China, we should understand that this this text was composed hundreds of years ago specifically for a Tibetan audience. And in Tibet, the tea that was seen as of highest quality was that from China. So here in Australia, there's no compulsion that the offering that one creates should be made with tea from China. What is important, though, is that it is an offering of good quality, of the best quality that one can gather, that one can afford. That is what is important. It doesn't necessarily need to be, certainly with the Dharma, it should not be taken literally, but the meaning should be understood.
That kapti kaplia belia shingdo ko riksoya jomarwa shingdo ko jusoya ji bi marwa tene shingdo ra kombu nyure namshi tangmorwa jisa shingdo tarang bone gehapshandane ke de kale khorwa da tene za ko saji khoron pe namshi tangmo inza tene za da shingdo merwa jisa tene za da digapso tene ge shingdo rik da tene yobane ha ji ha shingdo ko yabudige ya puyage tene musirwa 자 데네자 디 가지세디 고비 인지미 가지 라고야 가르해서 라고야 민도안에 잔다 가르 푸위로 와서 배섬드기로 왔잖아 가지세디 송고에 푸고에디 푸에디 가르세네 디가서 신도 콘벌에 신도 코동야 식자마라 요 말에 자디야 안에 지금 마 안지 산다니 마 지키네 타니에디 안에 야가르잖아요 직접으로된 지상 야나게 자디다 지고나서 야고로신 안디날 불만하려야 오늘 깨라 첨보다 안 미첨보다 부여하게 되는게 인자 안고 두시네 직까지 야 처반을 부여돼 계시샤고도 뒤로.
For example, in modern times, offerings in general are offerings of a liquid nature are often made with fruit juice. Now, you're not likely to find a Tibetan text encouraging an offering to be made with fruit juice, because if you think of old Tibet, not many fruits grew there, and fruit juice would have had to be carried in some large vessel from a neighboring country through very harsh terrain and so forth. So it would have been really such an instruction of offering fruit juice in old Tibet would have been very difficult to fulfill. Hence, something of high, that was considered of high offering, tea from China, is what is composed here. But we use our intelligence and we act in accordance with what is appropriate and what is possible.
Roye Badan Geshe Thubten Rabten Bendigo Tempe Kablia and Geshe Thubten Rabten and the Membigeta Shindo Kodan, Tangazuki, Gihap Susulanale, Pechayabu, and Susubole Penny Pen with the Negi, Jarik Chazan, the Shindo Kore, Subole Pendo Yedigan, and the Negi, Shindo Kore, and Jarik Naso Chazanya Pushu that sometime, but the Gajajibu sometime go over there.
When you read something like this, I offer a libation of China tea, saffron, bright, delicately perfumed, rich with 100 flavors, then take it to understand this in its broader meaning, that it's something of great benefit and great value, not in a monetary sense, but something that is greatly valued. And so this is offered, whether it's tea from Australia or whether it's fruit juice. This is not what's the main point. It's rather something that is valued and of benefit. So this verse, as the heading says, is one where the inner offering is offered. So here now in our third line, so again I read the two together, the 5 hooks, 5 lamps and so forth are purified, transformed and increased into an ocean of nectar. So here the actual substances which are the basis for accomplishment of the inner offering are offered. So that the basis for accomplishment or for attainments, that those are what's referred to here in the third and fourth line, and that is what is offered, and that is what is offered here.
소수기 진랍전에 띵인진 검제 띵인진 뉴비 dobje 그 창근 어디 규르시나 뒤중어 규르토고라 뒤중어 규르토고래 제자디 유래기 시디 창이네 지고 뒤중어 규르 다 창면에 자상으로 보지네 코디 되네 그 띵인진 검 띵인진 dobje 그 뒤중어 규르래 신도 코이나라 추이나라 그 가제 나주기 줍시세 저러와디 디가리나 디고 제자 디네자 먼저 띵이죠 검제 아니 검비기 dobje 뒤중어 규고고 단나 원내디 디레다디 띵 그거서 나생가 냠는 지금 똑부 통부 요간 쪽에 뒤중어 규투고르다.
The verse specifically says that the offering substance is tea from China, and as I've mentioned, it doesn't need to be tea from China, it can be fruit juice. And in fact, when we do the Lama Chöpa Puja, then we don't use tea, we'll use alcohol. And in fact, one can also use water. The main thing is, as I said before, is that one is offering something that is of benefit and or beneficial, and of that is highly valued. So not just something ordinary. And what is being performed in this by the practitioner when making the inner offering is that this basis of the inner offering, which is either China tea or water, alcohol or fruit juice, this is transformed by the concentration of the practitioner. So through the power of their concentration, the essence of the substance, such as tea, is transformed into nectar.
지산 나셔 창로비시네 뒤중어 규마도네 되네 나저 망업도네 라신야냐 여러분 뒤중어 규베네고 수불레 폐마도 라신야데 뉴에스카이리고 말고 폐기 똑배 냠도 제래 핑기로마도 뉴에스카이고 말고 지산한테 뒤중어 규마도 왜 장한저게다 나셔 창라제 루시아 저게 직동야다 되네게 직배 용와이나 안디기 라신제 안 용하는 냠는 제알이야 뇌마도 폐게 갖고 와 지산당 하나 저기 대신에 고신도 호로다 자랑로 시시나 아니 하고도 저거 되게 rabjung rub심베네 되게 거 되게 제시네 자당으로 당 신도 호이나 이 야로 차고로
Practitioners such as ourselves, who would not be transforming the essence, actually transforming the essence, if we were to use a basis of for the offering, which is alcohol, then by consuming it, our consciousness is going to be a bit impeded. So for us, it's probably better to use plain tea or fruit juice.
제단다 자규 난 죄마시데 다 되니게 자규 시대 안주도 전에 데려와 저 투쿠에 요지 데려와 되는 식으로와 세상 안 저기 냠린 제제 냠도기 개위 자와 뉴르도 깨려야 팽규 봐서 자규스 가서 자규 쿠에는 잘하지만 되네는 수수 담리기로와 세상 디기 나처디게 안 양발아 되네 안설이야 안 똑고 줄에 깨워 이제 자규사다 안 좀에서야지 진짜 되니기 냠도 똑바 줄에 끼는데 아주 띠무고 문바티게 세고로와 최면 아주 최면 발세로 발세나 나고는 로 발세나 마 누구 매바차기로 디나심 아주게 냠도 똑바 줄에 끼는데 깨바이나 아주게 띠무고 문바티게 발세로 wenza 아니 자경하다 점마사지 언도스체는 지고래
The 5 hooks and 5 lamps, we can understand that the hooks serve to summon all attainments. So the realizations one is striving to accomplish, the 5 hooks summon them or pull them towards one. And the 5 lamps serve to eliminate the darkness of ignorance and thereby illuminate the attainments.
되니게 아주 주시 자상으로 진짜 자상도 동샤반데 똑같게 시작해요 말봐. 세상 진짜 주시 자상이다. 저기 검지 띵에서 또게도 뭐 뒤지 뭐 주고래라래. 다 주고도 장도 바위 뒤지게 해서 장도 바위 장마다 또바다 바와 세지 숨시고래. 세상다 장와라도 균여바티 균되지 마 장세고 균 매바서세고. 네 Om said Yusum Digore, Om said Tuki Saban, Chesan Chochu Sanye Tamjegi, Tuki, and nobody Chazan Om de Hung de la team. Hundigma, Deji, Nazuki Dinama, Jatan Nazu Lushero, Hundi Dinama, Mad Nasano, Mad Gasset, Jatan Ma Suyode, and Digi Nube to get Jahadi, Gasset, Guen Tamjeta Pa, Janji, Guen Garina Pa Meva said, Jang said. Doch sededa düzüğün sedema dinama lece yani adigi düzüğün o gürse. Deji hanci meba söyledi da düzüğün o gürson düzü çalson var lece. Da digi macide hani garsore dinadi be mangbu. Nyunyu meba be mangbu şuju söyle çağır lece. Ceza jang doch parse jang se gün hamce da jang se hung digi. Da kusung tu sanji yu kusung tu sum ge yenden cha 수 구유연된데 가서로 구유연된데 없는 바팀 근데 산예 탐제기 순구연된데 알라팀 산예 탐제기 투유연된데 홍라팀 제상 홍디 제상 디순보디기 홍디기다 마 산예 탐제기 투유연된 차상 디난데 홍딜 팀샤바자 뉴바 차상 여바자 데라테네 안 디기 홍디기 괜 탐제 매바세 데나 아디기 안 뒤지모 줄 데네 엄디기 배 망보시고시 나 뉴뉴이나 푸엘이야 아니 지게 소신나 다 차상 푸고도 뉴뉴이나 당방을 와지서 망부쇼 꽤 망부셔셔는데 푸엘 배 망부여 자신 못 책으로 와지서 바진 세대 어디오시네 네 디스워드 장도 버위 뒤지 되니기 장와다 또바다 바위게 더 뒤지 모기비게 야소 취했으면 배 야소 나신 전부 망부쇼죠 디야 푸위에서 어디 시로치에서 푸위에서 장. 마디마레 당 고로 홍디마 자고 디나 팀고래 당보 홍디마 팀 디나 자당 고 주시나 디나 홍디마 팀데 괜 남제 매와 쇠자 데나 아디마 팀데 뒤중오 교 데나 옴디마 팀요데 데나 망고시 자소나시 네디 부거래제.
Then looking at the 3 terms, purified, transformed, and increased. So here, recall the three symbols Hum. So taking that of the syllable Hum, here this represents the qualities of the mind of all the Buddhas. This falls into the inner offering, dissolving and thereby purifying or eliminating all the faults in the offering substance. Then thereafter, the syllable which symbolizes the qualities of the speech of all the Buddhas. This falls into the inner offering, dissolves, and transforms the essence of the inner offering into nectar. And then the third letter, Om, which symbolizes the qualities of the bodies of Buddhas. This falls into the inner offering, dissolves, and this multiplies or increases, making the quantity vast. So this then is the meaning of the terms purified, transformed, and increased.
Then Adige Weather Power to and Sanye Church Sanye Tamji Sungu Yende to Kajan Bao Adil Horatim. Then Dig Weather Power to Sanye Tamji Guyende Pa Suchin and Tim. Chizan Sanye Tamji Kusum to Yende Sum Dida Our Husum the Tim there. Chizan Dinizine and Dadino Hundima Jedema Jatana Maza, then Bidigi Gwentamje the Passe. Then Dijela Adima Saj Ma Timje, Jatana Ma Giti, Dejutupina, Timodo, then Duzing or you sorry. That Duzing or you, that sign Puna, Precious or Chadero. That in a Om the Ma Tim, Mambushu Social, the Mambo, Jachimo Social, just not on to kissing the Yini Lama Chöpa, Moishela, Namana Cheda, Sekisima, the Doyen Mangazu, a Chike, Chöpa, or Sajin Lap, Jess, and Shorowad, Yeni. You set up the Sajin Lapche, then all the dig of so deep Mavache that Mazunachid, just not dig of so did some tache to shire that created that the deal pre order.
Here in our 34th verse, what we are doing, we're in the seven limb practice, the second limb, that of making offerings. So we are offering the inner offering to our Lama and the entire merit field. The blessing that has been that I've just referred to with the letters Om Hum, this we did previously. So back in the 8th verse, which is where we performed the blessing of the inner offering, there we would have visualized the inner offering, or above the inner offering, the letters Hum, below that and below that Om. And in our visualization from the letter Hum, light rays would have shined out in all directions, calling forth the wisdom of all the Buddhas, and that then would have fallen into the inner offering, dissolving and purifying the inner offering. From the letter R, light rays would shine out in all directions, and dissolving back into the letter R, which would fall into the inner offering, dissolve, and thereby purify and transform the essence of the inner offering into nectar. And then from the Om, light rays would shine out in all directions, bringing back the Buddha's bodies, which would dissolve into the letter Om, which in itself would fall into and dissolve into the inner offering, and thereby multiplying or increasing the quantity of the inner offering. So that was that visualization is done back in the 8th verse. Here now in the 34th verse, one is making the offering of the inner offering.
Belgian to Jushi, Debe Gusele Lutama, Xinjiang, Japan, Zedu, Chayan, and Yapurs.
The 35th verse, that secret offering, I offer I offer even illusion-like consorts of youthful splendor, slender and skilled in the 64 arts of love, a host of beautiful messenger dakinis, field-born, mantra-born, and simultaneously born.
다 초신 남기 초신 남이야 안에 주별 한번 부야 지나데 주별 한번 가서 부야디 그래서 안 초신 남기 신이 된 주별이 신된 주별 신조 삼진이 된 주별이야 안에 로직해 안에 부야기 되선 거와 초신 남기 신이 된 주별라 다 로직해 튕긴 로람 주겠는데 야 돼서 부거와.
So here, one is making offerings to the merit fields of, maybe you can say, companions to aid in the beings on the merit field, to aid them in their beneficial activities for sentient beings.
지난데 이원랑서 벨진 주주제 대비 규제력의 루타마 신경하게 현재 본의 소시도 당아질의 신기에 나게 현재 세도 신기에 그래서 나게서도 기름기 똑바로 냠는 톱되겐 지 난조마세월 나게서 신기에라도 신기에다 나게서 신기에다 현재라도 조름기 똑바로 톱되겐 아니 나게서도 기름기 똑바로 톱되겐 제 신기에다 현재서도 조름기 똑바로 톱되겐 아니 똑바로 톱되겐기 안 소리 난조마스 디시고래 신기에 나게 현재스 다 본인 속세도 되니기 망부스고래 망부 빼 망부스고래 본인 속세도 망부시고래
그래서 이 나게 니까
나게세디 기름기 똑바로 톱되겐 제 다 신기에서도 조름이 똑바로 톱되겐 현재에서도 조름이 똑바로 되는 조름이 똑바로는 망부 야 토마 망부 여러와 어디니게 네가 조름이 똑바로 톱되게 제거래.
So the third and fourth line, it refers to messenger dakinis that are field-born, mantra-born, and simultaneously born. So field-born refers to dakinis or yoginis that are have completed the generation stage practices, and then mantra-born and simultaneously born are refer to those dakinis or yoginis who have completed the completion stage practices.
That is all 저기 소소기 동반이 공제 that is 부에디 소소기 동반이 공제 소소기 동반이 공비게 동반이 되 소소기 투간에 봐 소소기 인간에 봐 지기 되니기 난주마티기 봐 주발 동반이 또 별로 용어제 임바지라 남바디 되니기 게림이 또 버텨 되게 나주마 뭐 받지 남바 나네 조름이 또 버텨 되게 남바 제가 소리
What actually we are doing is from our realization of emptiness. We emanate these, what we have here, messenger dakinis from our heart as offerings to the merit field. So it's our, in essence, it's our realization of emptiness that is taking the aspect of the messenger dakinis which are either field-born, mantra-born, and simultaneously born.
So, 어디다 동반이 또 별로 지발 차려와 소수기 귀기 동반이 검내다 동반이 또 별로 임바질라 남바디 다데네기 안예 또부터 되게 이게 안네 언두시네 나좀아 검이야 검지는 자 안에 초신 남래야 안신이 튕긴 주변이야 안 로바두시네 부야 되지.
So again, these what the visual aspect is that of these yoginis, but their essence is our wisdom realizing emptiness.
다지단 되니기 부야리야 초부야리야 장마로다 안에지게 되니기 다신이 된 주발이야 안에지게 튕긴 주발이야 튕긴 주발 로바 제발라 안에지게 하고 신바지 고고르자 규제세들 규제리글랑 저기 지난 고야 망부여래 규제래도 아주 셰 다야에 참 차야에 리모트야에 안지 잘라드니 직 잡면도야에 되니기 안지 자사지 그냥 같은 규제 이렇게 차고로 와 규제 되니기 규제에 과연 거래 재산 규제라 되니기 재산 셴이 두발라 되니기 내수식 신화지고 제발나 셴리야 판바게 전부 두고 와지네자 도시네 안 디레 되니지자 되비 규제라게 류를 개발해야지 개발해서 그걸 해야 돼.
To briefly explain this term, the 64 arts of love. So another way to translate it is skilled in the arts of the sense pleasures. Because that's perhaps a more accurate way to translate it, skilled in the arts of the sense pleasures. And then the sense pleasures that these dakinis are skilled in refer to those are relating to handicrafts, those relating to music, singing, and dancing. And so then there's a list, these are grouped, and all grouped together come to 64.
Then
the ultimate offering, the verse on ultimate offering, or the offering of emptiness, unobstructed great wisdom, simultaneous with bliss, the sphere of the actual, unelaborated nature of all things, spontaneous and indivisible, beyond thought and expression, supreme ultimate bodhicitta, I offer to you.
지상은 semje 세들이야 군습 semje 세다 dondam 장추 semje 세데 semje 인시호래 다 군습 semje 람나 당보 잠바다 인지고 니곰발라 되네 semje 탐지 상요 고바 토벌쇼 sem베게 되네기 sem 점만 임바들라 아니 군습 semje 세고로 군습 semje 세고로 다 dondam semje라나 다 장추 sem바 파바 남기 기기 돈용오선 도배 켐바들라 dondam semje 세고로 장추 sem바 전시sem바 파바시오마도 파바 차사말 전시sem바 파비 규기 돈용 오숨 도비 켐바델라 don남 자주심 예시오래 don남라는 동반이 있어 지사 동반용 오숨 도비 켐바델라 don남 자주심 예시오래 지사 자주심 세의 명리가 요래제 일단 돈이 도벨로디 전시파비 돈용 오숨 도비 켐바줘와 델라 명 don남 자주심 세오 제사 로레 돈남 자주 심레스고 제사 semje세도 semje랍나 민지버시 디날바여주 돈남 semje세다 군습 semje세 니죠 제사 돈남 semje랍도 전시선바 파비기 돈용 오숨도 비 켐바저와 디 돈남 자주 semje라고 할때라.
First, to just explain the term ultimate bodhicitta. So bodhicitta can be divided into two, that of conventional bodhicitta and ultimate bodhicitta. Conventional bodhicitta is what we always hear about in the context of bodhicitta, where one meditates on love, on compassion, generating the altruistic attitude of universal responsibility, and then eventually bodhicitta itself, where one is determined to become a Buddha so as to lead all beings to a state freed of suffering. And when that mind of bodhicitta is developed to the point where it's uncontrived, where it spontaneously arises, it doesn't need to be intentionally generated, then that is the actual mind of bodhicitta, and it's called conventional bodhicitta. So if we talk about actual bodhicitta or bodhicitta itself, it usually refers to conventional bodhicitta. And then the bodhisattva, as they progress in their training, they eventually will come to realize emptiness directly. So that bodhisattva now is an Arya being because they have attained a direct realization of emptiness. They are, of course, a bodhisattva because for this long period they've already generated uncontrived bodhicitta, and now, conjoined with that, they've realized emptiness directly. So, in the continuum of an Arya bodhisattva, that wisdom realizing emptiness is called ultimate bodhicitta. So the wisdom realizing emptiness in the continuum of a Arya bodhisattva, so the direct realization of emptiness, is called ultimate bodhicitta. What's being offered then in this 36th verse, that of the ultimate offering, or the suchness or emptiness offering, is the wisdom realizing emptiness in a continuum of a bodhisattva, or the wisdom directly realizing emptiness in the continuum of a bodhisattva. In other words, ultimate bodhicitta. We see before that is the word supreme ultimate bodhicitta. So an Arya Bodhisattva, whilst having ultimate bodhicitta, does not have ultimate bodhicitta that is supreme. Supreme ultimate bodhicitta is only in the continuum of a Buddha, an Arya Buddha.
Nyembo, that casa Tombani Topo Lodo Gombala Dine, Jiba Bango, Chesa Jiba, Jibra Jawa, Jiba than Jawa, Bangbas, or Jiba Tamjana Bangba. The ne Bangbu Tony to be Losura, the ne Tony to be Lodi, Hangi Devi Shesura, Hangi said, Pangas, Lord Hangi, Sim Tasho Digi, Sim Rawachaza Membache, Tony to Bolo, let Sim Rapayore, and the Sim Tamora. Chesa Hangi, Sim Tasho Digi, Sim Rawatamja Gache, Sim Rawatan Shi Mevache. 한기 대화 대한 대위 이시시 대화 지게 되는 이시디 안에 이시 첨보지게 동의도 불러지세요. 디 유전이죠. 지브엘 한기 대위 이시에서 유전이죠. 디 유디가라는 최근 랑신 죄단 제위 인세. 최근 랑신 죄단 제위 인. 시들 디바 탐제단 제위 한기 대위기 이시디기 유전이죠. 디기 가르도고서는 최탐제 라신기 주비 동비기 동방이도 도고래세 자신의 인생의 동방이서 최근 라신 죄단 제의 인생의 유리체 제별 한계 대비 이시 체에서도 안에 유전이체 유다 유전이 된 거예요.
Can I just check with the rain? Can you hear me at the back okay? Or do we need a bit more volume? Can you hear okay? Maybe a little bit more? Thanks, Jimmy. So looking then at the first two lines. First, unobstructed great wisdom simultaneous with bliss refers to the object possessor, and the sphere of the actual unelaborated nature of things refers to the object. So the object possessor, or the consciousness, is the consciousness that through the wisdom that directly realizes emptiness, all obstacles, all stains have been eradicated. So unobstructed, or here refers to the stains. So they have been eliminated through the wisdom directly realizing emptiness. And then we have simultaneous wisdom. So it's a word we don't normally translate here as simultaneous, but as innate. So innate wisdom, which refers to a very, very subtle mind. So as opposed to our coarse consciousnesses, an innate consciousness refers to a particularly subtle mind. So this is a consciousness of wisdom that directly realizes emptiness and is particularly subtle. And it's conjoined with bliss. And so that is the consciousness here that has eradicated the stains, that is freed from stains. So that's the consciousness. Then the object is the emptiness that is realized. So again, this being verses, it's poetic. So emptiness here is expressed as the sphere of the actual, unelaborated nature of all things. And again, the term unelaborated sometimes is translated as unfabricated. So it's again, the second line just refers to the emptiness of inherent existence.
시샘 참모세디 디마도 리교말 디니엘 셈 치서 라과차 다 왕시 미기다 된 두치도 왕시 라과지 원규 왕시도 마 가지 니쿠요는 이셰바 참모네 왕 라과치가 단 나저기 디니마 지네 아니 나저를 셈 차쇼 되게 들리고선 다 치셈 참모지 시로지도 갑을 리고래 마도 디갈만 리고 말 나저기다.
There's innate wisdom or simultaneous wisdom is something that we don't experience. It's never manifest for us, except at the time of death. So at the time of death, our coarser consciousness, first the sense consciousnesses and mental consciousnesses, these all dissolve. And only at the time of death does this subtle, innate wisdom become manifest. So here, this unobstructed great wisdom, simultaneous with bliss, is referring to the exalted wisdom that is the path, of the being progressing towards enlightenment. But for us, an innate consciousness only becomes manifest at our time of death.
Sem wangshe de pa ka sem rapa de ka dene sem chasho de sem chashi do ngun ju tu go re ndela hangi yi she se wo de sem chashi dene ge sem chashi de dong ban yi do lo ji se wo dong ban yi di ge sem chashi de gi de yu di ka ro so ne dong ban yi do go re se je yu di la.
What's being referred to here is a really subtle consciousness of wisdom that highly skilled meditators who have long since attained a path, their realization, when they realize emptiness, they do not do so with a coarse consciousness, but with a particularly subtle consciousness that for us is never manifest. But they, through their skill in meditation and the great progress that they have made, are able to generate this subtle innate wisdom, and not just generate it, but utilize it to realize emptiness directly.
Adene yerme hundu masam jole de sira. Yerme la du da de yu jin. Yerme hundu masam jole de. Da yerme la yu de yu jin dong ban yi do bei yi xie de da yu dong ban yi ni bo de mo yerme res. Mo yerme ke mo la ke bar je yo ma res. Benang zu ge chu po po che sha cha ga la ya chu po ji shan da chu lu xia ban da 지구 지경만 대신에만 취디디래 대신 제일 취디래 상관저 예와 체투에 하고로 와 지상고 개발되어 있는 예와 체투에 하고로 와 니나시 유동반이 유전되다 유동반이 또 동반이 니버디 뭐라 예르메 지구 지경래 가서 라신 주베 동반이 뭐래 마도 요 말에서 지상 뭐 예르메에서 예르메에서 가르치는데 가르치는 최 담제 라신이 마주바로와 라신 주가지 숙동보 동반이 수서 지부지게 셔라니 보나 숙동보 동반이 수서라 최 담제 현지를 뛰는 주바 강라마도 랑원 주바 자오기 메르와 메라도 유제 이시 대양 그런 어디를 가서 강라마도 랑원 주바 동반이에서 지상 그 유제 이시 뒤 동반이 또야디 가르도 버스는 그런 라신 셈 그런 이시 참 그런기 그런 라신이 마주 두고래 강라에 랑문이 주변 동반이 두고 그래. 그래서 뭐 열매에서 디시고.
in our third line, we have the word indivisible. So what is being referred to as indivisible refers to the previous two lines. First, the consciousness or the object possessor. In the second line, the object. So the first line is the wisdom directly realizing emptiness, and not just any wisdom, but this particularly subtle wisdom that is realizing emptiness of inherent existence. So the object and the object possessor, emptiness and the consciousness, the subtle wisdom realizing emptiness, are indivisible, because this realization of emptiness, as well as the emptiness that is realized, are indivisible. Both are empty of inherent existence. All that appears is emptiness, or the lack of emptiness of inherent existence. So this is the meaning then of the term indivisible. So it's good to be clear on this point, because one may well at some point wonder, how can the emptiness and the consciousness realizing emptiness be indivisible? Because emptiness is a permanent phenomenon, whereas a consciousness is an impermanent phenomenon. So it may well appear strange to say that a permanent and impermanent phenomenon can be indivisible. But what it means here is, in nature, there is no difference between the emptiness that is realized and the consciousness that is directly realizing emptiness. Their nature is identical. All phenomena, everything that exists, is empty of inherent existence. What has been expressed here then is that in essence, the permanent phenomenon of emptiness and the impermanent phenomenon of its realizing consciousness, directly realizing consciousness, are indivisible in essence. This is also something that we're familiar with in the recitation of the Heart Sutra. Form is empty, emptiness is form. So here one is recognizing, so form is empty, emptiness is form, is also referring to the indivisible nature of the emptiness of form and the realizing consciousness.
Suk tomba ola, suk tomba ni six go, suk tomba ni re la gyomar, suk ranshin tomba ni resa, tomba ni resa. The tomba ni suk sola, tomba ni suk re says like it was. That tomba ni hon suk re la gyomare, tomba ni the suki ranshin de res or suki ranshin de tomba. Suki ranshin tomba ni said, Suki tomba ni said, Suki ranshin re. Suki tomba ni lame, Suki ranshin re. Ranshin res or Suki ranshin la, Suki ranshin de Suki tomba ni res or Suki ranshin da, Suki tomba ni said, Suki ranshin di, Suki tomba ni res. Suki tomba ni di, Suki ranshin res or.
I didn't say, I got that wrong, so again, they corrected me there. So in the Heart Sutra, we hear a similar concept where we hear form is empty, emptiness is form. So the meaning is, so form is empty, the nature of form is that it is empty. And the second line, emptiness is form, emptiness is the nature of form. So I'll say that again. Form is empty means the nature of form is that it is empty. And the second line, emptiness is form, emptiness is the nature of form.
And then lundup lagido, lundup labde that it ngana kala sanyelia, tomba yutobi yeshe teda, and di yu tomba yini body ngo yermeres, ranshin yermebare larwa, Chisa tomba yutobi yeshe dia, ranshin tomba yire larwa. Chisa that tomba yisadi, that dilagura. And yeshe the dangbo tomba yimayan or ranshin tomba yimayan bache, lam yamlen jeje, and a gazam chilia, ko ranshin tomba yu or you or revesena, then a reves maresor. Dangbo ranshin di tomba yimayan bache, gom je, yamlen jeje, and ranshin tomba yu or you son or revelana, di maresor. And the lundupresor, lunduple, dangbo nine, Koro tomba yito vishi or dangbo kiyon to the Kora ranshin tomba in charge, yes, madam. Ko dangbo tomba in my imbaje, and then ko Kuda Kinjiletine tomba in Chava rivers and Dimaries, Kolunduprela, the ko dangbo yin, ishi koro dangbo in kiyon to ne, and the Kormodi tomba in charge, ranshin tomba in charge, Demba tomba yes, or Lundup said it. Lundup. Ah. Charging Beji met the thing that did.
In the term spontaneous. So just to repeat again, the order of the Tibetan and the English isn't the same, hence the explanation sometimes can not be in the order we have. So look at the term spontaneous. So I'm not sure if this is a good translation or not. It's a Tibetan word I haven't come across before. But what its meaning is that phenomena have always been empty of inherent existence. Phenomena, everything that exists has always been empty of inherent existence. No phenomenon was inherently existent and then through the wisdom realizing emptiness became empty of inherent existence. Because this is a misunderstanding that some have, that something is made empty by the wisdom realizing emptiness. That is not the case. Phenomena have always been empty of inherent existence. And wisdom comes to realize that this is how phenomena always have existed. Wisdom doesn't make them empty. They have always been empty. So that's the meaning of the term spontaneous.
Ranshin Lundupsa, Ranshin Lundupsa, Ranshin Lundupsa, Ranshin Lundupla, Pena Dambo Chigme, Jalashina, Dambo Mavos Mevache, Jelia, Twenu, Jewish Mavosana, Dambo de Mavo Chayo, which is so good on Mavo Chamado, you don't get let in the Mavo show. And also Lam Julaki, you don't get let in the Gule and Lam Julaki Gorova. Ranshin Luduple, Dambo, droop on the Koron, the Haram more never, the Ranshin Ludupse. Cesa, Yeshe, Yeshe, that you, Yeshe, that you don't buy any body cor, droop Dambo, Yineko, and the Ranshin Majuba, the Buddha, don't buy it, don't buy it. Cesa Ranshin Ludup said this one. Ranshin Lundup said it, Sick the Lundupla, dear Ranshin Lundup Paja, and the Sigma should the Ranshin Lundupla. Ranshin Luduk, Dambo, Koron, droop on the temple to be Tombare, Mato. Nearly temper to Tomba Mayan by the temper to Bache, and then got Gom Jebje temper to Tomba Sushi Rivers and Dine Mares, caught on one Drubion to go rushing to be Tombare, instead of rushing to dress or Ludus. Niga Chazan.
The term that we have as spontaneous, Hlundup, this is an abbreviation, its longer form is I'm just looking at the dictionary, so it's something called spontaneously accomplished nature, or spontaneously present nature. So what it refers to is, as I've just said, phenomena have always been empty of an inherent existence. And here it's specifically referring to the first and second line, the object, possessor, and object, the wisdom that directly realizes emptiness, as well as the emptiness that is realized. These have always been empty of inherent existence. So, for example, if one has paint that is a color pink, we know it hasn't always been pink. It was probably once white, and then red paint was poured in, and then it was mixed, and one got pink. The paint became pink. So the red paint and the white paint became pink. That is not the case with how phenomena exist. It's not that a phenomena existed by way of its own nature or essence, and then due to the power of the wisdom that directly realizes emptiness, this inherently existent phenomenon transformed into a phenomenon that's empty of inherent existence. That's not the case. So this term, spontaneous or spontaneously accomplished nature, means that all phenomena, whether consciousness or the object of consciousness, have always been, since beginningless time, have always been empty of inherent existence.
Masam jule de sira. Masam jule de la de tang dongpa yin do bige do yong de sem na ya do bige digi dang chowa junguru wa jisan di ngui ni su di kan ba xie ne xie tu ya ma le xie tu ya xie tu ma le che sing ang zu yi di dongpa yin do bige de sem gi nyam yong to ne ko sem ya ji yi gi xie be nyam yong to ji yong go di nyam yong do ba yin do bige nyam yong di pa ane ji ge pa kan ba xie ba de xie dang xie ba ne 마삼 죄매래스 그现在写图呀或滴用这个看吧怎么进行写图呀的写图嘛的去绝了的是绝把的把点把的写图呀嘛的去
Beyond thought and expression refers to what is being presented here, that this realization of emptiness is not something that can be adequately described with words, and it cannot be adequately understood through words, from an explanation. It can only be known through realizing it.
And
For example, if one eats a delicious piece of cake, and it's really quite exceptional, and a feeling of great happiness and delight arises, it's difficult to express in words precisely how it tastes. It's difficult to transform or to express in words what one is experiencing. So others will have an understanding of what you mean based on their own experience of delicious cake, your facial expression and so forth. But your actual experience of it, this we can't adequately convey with words.
초유 디기 녀아기 디 또바 로디기 파 디 주기 파 칸디 파 죄바다 셰바다 죄를 말씀 주면 말씀스네 파 셰바를 죄바는 지바 죄바데 지난 데니기 셰야는 셰 투에 메디겐 데니기엔 된담 비자주 셈디야 난 결혼을 부귀해서지 순거로
This realization of emptiness. So emptiness is expressed in the second line, and is realized by this subtle, innate, great wisdom. This is in the continuum of a bodhisattva. This is ultimate bodhicitta, and it is what is being offered here.
안 상일 표현을 그런 유기여봐도 그런 표현을 살다. 아주 피는 아주 뒤야 표현을 걸어와. 진짜 되는 자주 심지어 켜라 부세디 다데디 동반이 또 비게 원숨 또 비, 챔비 이시 디바 탐제 빵 비게 아니 한기기 대비게 동반 용수도 비 이시디 다 소신 라마 이담 산 코로나 규라 여되게 지루와. 맞아 아주 자주심 비규라 메레 아주 규라 메레. 다 결혼 규라 여바디 결혼을 부유해서 아주 차기도 와데.
This can seem a little strange when you think about it, because we are offering supreme bodhicitta, a bodhicitta which is the wisdom directly realizing emptiness, which we don't have. And in particular, it is an innate wisdom, a very subtle mind that is unobstructed, or normally we translate this as unstained. So this is a mind that is unstained is a being who has abandoned the stains and attained Buddhahood. And also here, I mentioned earlier that supreme ultimate bodhicitta refers to the ultimate bodhicitta in the continuum of a Buddha. So we certainly do not have this. Arya bodhisattvas don't even have this. Yet this is what we're offering. And we are offering it to a Lama and the merit field who have such a mind. So we're offering something that we don't have to beings who do have it. Which seems a little strange.
나디 처음에 대관한 유처 표하세요. 대관한 유처하세요. 동반이 도비기. 나디 이시대 대관한 도비 이시서 디 표해서 대관한 유처 표하세요.
And this offering is called the offering. Usually we have here as ultimate offering. It's usually the offering of suchness or the offering of emptiness.
나 donala 저 표시대 당하고 간에 삼당고를 남다야데 갈당고를서네 대신아 저기야 아니 진낭죄다 아니 메도라서바네 그 신예마디 최비게 제망고 표소 최비게 제다 아니 낭죄다 아니 지게 나데 아니 난조말라서 디 표소아 디 표발에 때네 라마디기 파시에지네 델라 때네 라메귤이야 아니 랭기 대위기 동반이 모습이 예시디 계속 선비 뭐바지 오래지 지다다 라메귤 동반이 예시 예도 열데 이내 당 아주기 뭐바지에 가서 아주기 메도다 나죄다 된다 좀제 조지가서 부여와 니 부여 라마리아 초신디기래 부여도 코로나주기 디 부여도 야시에지네 코로나를 빼직다 가오다 빼직 되네기 류 저기 얘기실 한 한기기 대화데 되네 대위기 동반이 무슨도 외시디 싸워지 계속 와서 배워봐지 그래서 왔다디래 된다라 디게디 초신이 라고는 라마 코로나 줄이 기고로 와 지상 코로나 줄이 계기 견디 가르쳐 버스는 대신 아 저기 매도다 두배다 안직 취해서 바도 매발아서 부여로 와디 부여발에 때네 안 라미귤라 소신이 되게 대소 코로나 줄라 한기 대외 대화지 대외지기 동반이 모습이 시디 사도 계속 와서 비 누스며 봐지야 되디래 된다라
We can should think of how we should relate to these offerings, whether it's the ultimate offering here in the 36th verse, the offering or the secret offering, or those of the yoginis, or in the 34th verse, the inner offering. So before that, the offerings, the various outer offerings, such as flowers. The way we should relate to all of these is, certainly we can recognize that the beings to whom we're offering the merit field have no need for any of this. They are enlightened, they abide in great bliss anyway. But we are making these offerings to them in a way that relates to where we are, to our way of thinking. So therefore, in order for us to create merit, we perform this activity in a way that we can understand and relate to. So we imagine that by making these offerings, we are generating great delight and ever a greater bliss, or a fresh arisal of bliss in the continuum of the beings in the merit field. And we can understand that this would be the case. And the bliss and delight is not coming because they are receiving offerings of flowers and so forth, but because of our mental attitude, we are creating merit. And this merit, because of our motivation, will ensure we attain enlightenment. And that is what generates delight in the merit field.
다들이야 맨 표현들이 녀모시 시야자시 내준비 상보문이 지라나서다 균이기신 다르불라나 남가시세 방수 송도 솔로세.
The 37th verse, that of offering of medicine and services. To cure the 404 affliction-caused diseases, I offer all kinds of potent medicines, and I offer myself as a servant to please you. Pray keep me in your service as long as space endures.
Denegi neri midawa di gyu garil denosne gyu nyomo le da nyomo ba le tine yongores le da nyomo ba jezada di gyu nyomo ba le nishu tsapshi yongor kyata kasa shipke nishu tsapshi tene di ke ji nyomo ba de le ani gyu nyomo ba de le ya shipke nishu tsapshi yongor wa jeza nerik de negi rig midawa le neyam rig ta maraje tangar kyabda shipke nishu tsapshi yores Tezu chasan nerik tiki gyudan kien me pala gyudan kien le tiki yore, gyudan kien karala son gyu, ane le dang, nyomo pala tini ki yore. Chazada nerik shibkya tsashin da di gyudaya nishu tsabshi yongurwa, shibkya nishu tsabshi yongurwa, chazan nyomo pa rikmidawa, ane shibkya nishu tsabshi yore. Chazan tezu ke Jomegi meba soya dela ne chombe sidida nerik da ne rik shibkya tsashin di yu nyomo pa te cheba chasan meba soya ke jomegi ne chombegi sambo mani chera na so se me na so pa chi ya phugi si ora na so da hasen phugi si ora ki ni chi ri se ne kyora tu ni bi chi du phugi si ora.
To cure the 404 affliction-caused diseases, I offer all kinds of potent medicines. So here you have a collection of 404 illnesses which come about independent on causes, and those causes are contaminated karma and the afflictions, primarily, or principally rather, the afflictions. So the afflictions are the cause that leads to the result of illnesses. And in order to eradicate the cause that leads to illness, in other words, to eradicate the afflictions, I offer all kinds of potent medicines.
Chizada nyomo bada nyomo bi gyunda soyo bada sambo mengi chera na so da se nga na se da de men saya da chike kapte da men jik ta mara yongurwa dadi denege saya ri de ya nyomo bada me ba so de ko marwa nyomo ba man se de la kontra da de cha da se na lo so nyomo se de na da me pa to be tomba ni to be shera la so pa da ane janju sem go mi la so pa ti jo da tomba ni to be shera janju ge sem ane jige de so ane 차사다 디나니 바 상보 많이 제다 녀모 베게 녀 내릭 지야 자식이 규 녀모 바데 점야기 점야 매바 소야기 맨 마소나 동방이 또 베셔라라 소바다 아니 진서 파지 주기 냠는디게 아니 다 아직 류령오스는 미가 아직 지딘발에 내제 중심 맨주시야게 맨사야라 소바데니기 내디 수볼 나자다야다 데니기 유면 맨 사진 내서마도 동방이 좀네 그래서래 맨사고라 제자 데니기 네 좀여기 맨세데 맨이 릭세데 맞아 사야도게 맨 넘윤 지다는 아주 베지다에 맨 릭제 안에 디나리 맨세데야 동방이 녀모바 매바서야기 동방이 또 베셔라 소바디네 디나리 맨기 녀모바 매바서기 맨 나도스네 디스 차 나속세데 디네 다마라요 맨 다마라서 mambu시오라 어디서 부유예시고로
The potent medicines refers to both temporary cures, so our ordinary worldly medicines of all types. These would be offered, but it primarily refers to not to temporary to offerings that would temporarily resolve or heal one, but those which would ultimately or finally heal one. In other words, because no matter what ordinary medicine one takes, the actual causes for illness are afflicted minds, such as attachment, anger, and ignorance. There is no pill or medical treatment that can eliminate or even reduce these afflictions. So here, not only are we offering ordinary medication, but we are offering the greatest or supreme medication, the wisdom directly realizing emptiness, conjoined with bodhicitta, as well as the practices of a bodhisattva, the 6 perfections. These are what is being offered. So potent medicines has 2 meanings, but of the 2, ordinary medicine, the primary meaning, the principal meaning, is offering the wisdom direct to realize emptiness, conjoined with bodhicitta, and accompanied by the 6 perfections.
jen se de jidang an zo yokbo se che ro yokbo se da de ngan zo ya ngan zo garu pu zo choshi de le so so ha da de ji pu ye de chasang bi da so so ha ji bu so so ya pu gi so ya pu ye yin de pu se de jen se de xue ju xue na choshi nan ge xue ju xue de ji men da de so da men de de choshi de le ko so se men sa go ya ge ga yo ma de ne xian lun ji be yan la xian le pan bo zhu xian lun pan bo zhu to yo lo xian na za men je yo lo ba je sa di be je sa so sui ne ya lama la go ya se yo ma de ma zu ya pu de lama la xu xue da la mi gi xian le pan bo zhu be ge le ga ru ku na di ji gi se cha go ba ji ne za da de bula na de ne ki pu gi yes de ne za nam ga ji si bon so so do so se de nam ga 마세게 봐도 안sem제 탐제 상요고 마도이 봐도 나라마 결혼기 아니 십줄파 제제 아니 라마 결혼 십주여라베기 결혼기 두스제네 아니 두스제네 아니 냐로제에서 그러다.
And I offer myself as a servant to please you. Please keep me in your service as long as space endures. So the translation's fine, but maybe we'd prefer it if the third line rather was, and I offer myself to serve in order to please you. The meaning would be similar. So here, the meaning is that if we tie this to the previous lines of ordinary medicine, so as to serve you, I will offer the medicine for you. I will attend on you and nurse you as required. But of course, the meaning here is going to be much deeper than that. The beings in the merit field have no ordinary needs at all, or no extraordinary needs either. But here, this is about our making a commitment to act in accordance with their spiritual instructions. And in this way, to serve them, to serve them through acting in accordance with their spiritual instructions. And as long as space endures would refer to continuing to act in accordance with their teachings, their spiritual instructions, until enlightenment for all beings is achieved.
And so tamale so and ya choshi ya pu chasan da chasan pu sai pu che and do chen and xian dun ji be yan la de pu sui nam le and xian dun ji be yan la ya pu che and so ran ji ge choshi ge xian dun ji be yan la ka de pu de na ji ge yaorum ji ge ya ji xiu ju ru xin da and yaorum ji koron le ya xiu ju xie da xue pan du go le ine da xian le ya ro bo che ine a de ji yaorum ji all de ge 조로 지기 현야 판바르나 주투야 용으로와 주투가 용으로와 되는게 돈에 안 제사 안 되는게 안 라미게 안 결혼 디디디시 알코올이야 로보디지어 결혼데 마 콘솔이야 최디시로 제시쇼 콘솔이야 곰데니 랍쇼 안 되는 결혼 되네 콘솔 강아데 강아데 파세쇼 선 라미게 도시는 현야 판바게 좀 주투고 그래 제사 소수게 냠렌지에 고급 빼 야보슈라고 그래지는 되는자 디 제hen스야디 라미기 소주에 남게 템프에디 현례 판도유베 자와 주주마도 강아제야다 요거장에 소소드나 요거에 디말 차기 말와 그래서 디네자 라미 텐드 푸여베 라미기 델레티난 소소라랑게 현륜 제바 장쇼 셈고미야다 인조고미야 대현례 카요라유 판도 주투야게 아니 최대야다 디네게 차바시고 중고레스 디네자디 푸비고바 로스디르와다 don다.
Meaning here is that what we are offering to the merit field is the offering of ourselves in terms of service. And what service are we offering? To act in accordance with their teachings, with their spiritual instructions. So if we think of, say, His Holiness, he'll have many people attending on him, working alongside him, so as to aid him in acting in a way to benefit beings. So His Holiness utilizes all the staff around him, not because he has any particular needs, but it helps them and it helps beings. It helps them accumulate merit, and through them, beings are benefited. So whilst we are not in the close entourage of a great being like His Holiness, we are nevertheless part of the broader entourage in that through receiving the teachings of the Buddha and then internalizing those teachings, studying and meditating on them, developing them within us, and then expressing those teachings to others in how we act towards them, the guidance we give to others, and so forth. This is an expression of the teachings we've received. And these teachings have all come about in dependence on the kindness and the great skill of our lamas. So if we think of this in relation to dependence arising, we can see how we are part of the broader entourage in helping fulfill the heartfelt aspirations of our lamas, which is to ease the suffering of beings, both in a temporary, but in particular in an ultimate way, in helping beings overcome the pain and the suffering caused by the afflictions. So this is when we're offering ourselves as a servant or offering our service. This is really the meaning, that we will take the teachings, internalize them, and act under their influence in accordance with them to benefit all beings. Because the greatest way to repay the kindness is to ease the suffering burden that beings experience. And then thank you. We have now completed 2 of the 7 limbs, the more extensive ones, that of prostration and that of offerings. And then we'll start with the following limbs next week, which are presented much more in a more kind of concise manner, starting with verse 38 of the confession, and later we will continue to rejoicing, requesting to teach, request to remain, and dedication of merit. So thank you very much.